Hello again. Until a few months ago, Keir Starmer's cabinet contained three Muslims. These were Shabana Mahmood, the Lord Chancellor, Tulip Siddi, Economic Secretary to the Treasury and City Minister, also responsible for fighting corruption, and Rushanara Ali, the Homelessness Minister. Now there is only one Muslim in the cabinet. This is because a warrant was issued abroad for the arrest of the anti-corruption minister on a charge of corruption. The homelessness minister resigned following allegations that she had made somebody homeless. I have no idea whether there is anything in either of these scandals, but it was rather unfortunate and, of course, extremely funny. There is, to my mind, a problem with Muslims holding political office in this country, for the simple reason that they invariably seem to be more concerned for the interests of other Muslims than they do the general non-Muslim population. One sees this with great clarity in the case of the five Muslim members of parliament who belong to the so-called Independent Alliance. They do not belong to any British political party, but were elected in Muslim areas of the country primarily to represent the interests of Muslims in a territory thousands of miles away, which is why they declared, once they had been announced as the winners in the election, that this is for Gaza. To me, this is a problem. It's the same problem I have with Sadiq Khan, who always switches on the Ramadan lights in central London but wouldn't cross the street to turn on the Christmas lights in Oxford Street. Well, consider the case of Lutfur Rahman, who was elected mayor of Tower Hamlets in 2010 and 2014. He was found guilty of electoral malpractice, though, and removed from office. Apart from financial irregularity and vote rigging, he was found to have engaged in religious intimidation. In other words, he had run his election campaign in the same way that people traditionally do in Bangladesh, where he was born. The idea of an ordinary fair British election was quite beyond him. What happened to Rahman? Why, he's once again the mayor of Tower Hamlets, being voted in again by those living there because he is a Muslim, rather than for any other reason. Time and again we see the same kind of thing, that Muslims in this country who get involved with politics tend to do two things. First, they put the interest of Muslims first and foremost, over and above those of British people who are not Muslim. Secondly, they all too often tend to fall into the way of carrying on as in a fashion that might pass unremarked in Pakistan or Bangladesh, but which by British standards looks horribly corrupt and at times downright crooked. I'm not convinced there is a remedy for this problem other than to keep Muslims away from political power in our country.